Start live stream. Hari Om and a very warm welcome to everybody. Pranams to Sri Narasimha Prabhuji, and we welcome all the panelists who will be participating in the discussion on the topic spiritual marriage. And the wonderful thing about celebrating International Women's Day in this way is that today we are going to be listening to an all men's panel. So welcome. We will begin with our prayers. Request you to mute and join. Antarjyotihi Bahirjyotihi Pratyakjyotihi Paratpara Jyotireva Jyotihi Swayam Jyotihi Atma Jyotihi Shivosmyaham Gurur Brahma Gurur Vishnu Gurur Devo Maheshwara Gurur Sakshat Parabrahma Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sadashiva Samarambhan Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Narayana Samarambhan Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. I request Vasu to introduce our moderator, Shri Girishaya.
Hari Om, welcome to everyone, to all the panelists and to the moderator and to Shri Prabhuji and to all the viewers. Today we are continuing to celebrate International Women's Day through this wonderful panel discussion. The world celebrated International Women's Day on 8th of March, that is Tuesday. But Light of the Self, we celebrated it through a wonderful panel discussion last Sunday, through two panel discussions, one in English and one in Kannada with the all women's panel that had wonderful reviews, and it went on very well with all the panelists sharing the views and moderators conducting it. But while the world started and stopped on 8th to celebrate International Women's Day, Light of the Self continues to celebrate it, as Devi Shakti is primordial to all spiritual things. So today we have a very unique panel discussion, and this is an all men's panel. And we might wonder what the men are doing in International Women's Day, and that is the curiosity that we would like all of you to hold. I would not let the cat out of the bag. I will let Shri Girish Ji to let the cat out of the bag and the panelists. So we have a wonderful team, a wide spectrum of panelists, from very experienced to young, youthful energies in the panel, and we have a wonderful moderator in Girish Ji. Girish Ji is a very experienced professional in the electronics and IT industry, decades of experience. Currently, he is the founder of Avadhut Automation, an automation company in Gandhi Bazaar, Bangalore, providing automation training services for smart manufacturing. Apart from that, he is, on the spiritual side, he's an ardent student of Prabhuji right from 2016 onwards. And he's a part of the Kapila AVSC group, where very intense scientific questions and dialogues keep happening, and participating very actively. We are very happy today that he's agreed to moderate this panel discussion. And today's topic is also very interesting: spiritual marriage. I would like to request Girish ji to start the session and start the moderation.
Since we are starting at 10:15, I think we can continue the panel till 11:15, Girish ji.
Sure.
Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you, Vasudevji. Thank you for this opportunity given to me. The first cat came out of the bag was I was a panelist, and today I'm a moderator. So that is one thing was surprising to me also. But pranams to all Atma Jyotis, pranams to Prabhuji. This is a very unique topic. The first thing I was wondering when this panelist, as a panelist, I was wondering what a man has to do in a Women's International Day celebration. But later I realized the topic what was there for today's topic, that is spiritual marriage. So I started pondering on that. So if you take two words, spiritual and marriage, you will get vivid pictures in your mind, right? When you talk of spiritual, some orange color robe will come in, some beard person with a robe will come in, and marriage is another thing where you have a lot of imaginations, right? So when you club these two word together, that is spiritual and marriage, then it is something like a fusion. So I was just pondering on that, and a few questions came to my mind also. So I'm just putting across to you, and we have four panelists who is going to elaborate on that. So the first question I was just looking at is marriage a spiritual thing or a worldly thing? So that is one thing, right? So that is one where one can say. What is the second question which came to my mind was, like, what is the difference between marriage and spiritual marriage, right? So that is the second thing. Third thing I started to define that, it is getting married to a spiritual person is called a spiritual marriage. So that was the third thing which came to me. And fourth one was like, by following spirituality in marriage, then it is called as a spiritual marriage. So I think let us hear from the all expert, because I'm only a moderator here, so I will also get enlightened on this. So I think the first question is common to all the panelists. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce each panelist first, ask the same question, and they'll be going to answer for about 3 minutes. And then I'll go to the next panelist. I'll introduce that panelist at that point of time. And for all the virtual Atma Jyotis here, if you have any question, please put it in a chat box, so that we can take up once this round of few question happens. Then we can take up the questions.
Just 1 second, Girish ji.
Yeah.
We request all the panelists to turn on the camera so that people can see them speak. If you don't mind, it is not mandatory, but it will be nice for the audience to see the speakers. Thank you. Hari Om.
Yeah, I think just for a lighter side, without camera speaking will take us back to the All India radios there, where we used to listen the radio only without the face.
No, it may be wife may be prompting from behind. They may not want to show that.
Okay.
I think for all reason, the husband is hiding in the home, to speak.
Men's Parda system.
Yes. Fine. So before introducing the first speaker, so I just would like to go to my memory lane when I was going to the school. in a school, we had Teachers' Day. That is, one day, a student will become a teacher in the classroom and you will conduct the classroom. I don't know how many of you have that experience. So once or twice, I had that experience of becoming a teacher in my classroom, replacing my actual teacher. So for me, today is that day. Mr. Sarvanji, the first panelist, I'm a part of Kapila group and he is our teacher in our group. So today I'm going to introduce him. So Sarvanji, the student, friend, and ex-colleague of Prabhuji, a retired IT professional, and interest in both science and spirituality. This is, I think, something I call it as a fusion, because spirituality and science goes together. Married and have 2 sons. I would like to keep all the bios very brief. Yeah. The first question is common question, which is going to go for everyone. That is, Sarvanji, according to you, what is a spiritual marriage?
First, let's see what is marriage. Marriage is something where 2 things coming out of the same act separately on each other in order to propagate each other. So this is the true spiritual marriage is between the consciousness and energy, or Shakti or Shiva, Parvati or Shiva. And whatever we are seeing in human race is also an attempt by this human civilization to progress through the Shakti part and the Chaitanya part coming together to propagate that and to grow mutually. So that is what is marriage. And spiritual marriage is nothing different from real marriage. I'll probably be able to talk more later, but human marriage or anything else, marriage is first finally what you take it to be. If you take it spiritual, it's spiritual. If you take it material, it is material. The difference is that everything is finally that which we take it to be and how we make it rather than how it is. Hari Om.
ಗಿರೀಶ್ ಅವರು ಮ್ಯೂಟ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಮಾತಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದಾರೆ.
Girish ji, yeah.
Yeah, still you have 1.5 minutes. So you want to add? Because each participant has got a time of 3 minutes. So utilize the time to enlighten the panel.
Okay. So the spiritual marriage is not just something that happens because of spirituality. Even to perfectly materialistic people who get married together and pursue a goal which is in line with the capabilities of both for larger good for the society, you can term that also as a spiritual marriage. Because in the end, everything that happens in this is only for us to realize ourselves, self-actualize ourselves, and to project ourselves and bring happiness to ourselves, which is in our own nature. So this might look marriage. If it doesn't look like that, it is because we try to take marriage more from a business-like perspective, a business enterprise, where I try to see what is the gain I get versus what is the gain I give. And such calculations will always have tensions, have some things. So until the ego settle down, you will not realize this. And the whole purpose of marriage is for these two egos to rub together, understand each other, and merge into each other. So that's what probably is a better definition of marriage. Okay.
Thank you. Very nice. Lot of enlightenment here. So the second panelist, I would like to introduce Mr. Venkatji. He's a Sri Prabhuji student from 2015, involved in AVSC and iLead software, iLead programs. He is also a software professional, living in RR Nagar, Bangalore, with wife and 2 kids, daughter in college, and son appearing for the 10th grade. Over to Venkatji. The same question.
Hari Om.
Hari Om.
I think this topic need a grace of Guru only, because otherwise spiritual marriage is very difficult to talk about. I
Yes.
hope I have the grace of Guru in
We are
playing out.
married for 25 years, sir. That's a grace.
God's grace.
Prabhu, I'll put it in Prabhuji's framework only. Marriage, there is a Adi Bautika, Adi Davika, Adhyatmika involved in it. Adi Bautika and Adi Davika, by Guna, we are half created. And we always seek the other half. But, for all good reasons, all the good qualities are sitting with the better half. And all the other difficult qualities are sitting on the in the male half. So this is, while bringing up, while growing up, this framework, that Varnashrama Dharma was available. This whole Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha, this framework was available. But once you get in only, you'll know this. When you get into this marriage only, all this play out. There somebody said, right, good marriage is a great path towards enlightenment. Bad marriage is instant enlightenment. So that's that also plays out, right? So this spiritual marriage is something that you need to in the physical plane, Daivika plane, mental plane. There is a need for a balance, because this Sanatana Dharma is a way it is created as a path towards enlightenment. This whole path is designed for enlightenment. Everything, every step, right from rituals all the way till now, the way it progresses is a drive towards realizing the oneself. And you should be lucky enough to have that grace as a partner come in the shape of a partner. Balance your logics, because the men are completely logical and also illogical. And, your better half brings that conscious in you, but they are your consciousness. In fact, they bring that balance in you. Hence, they'll give you that, at times shake you up in progress towards one's own realization. That balance is the Shakti, that Navaratri, what Prabhuji did last year. You don't need to look out for Daivika Shakti. All of it is in her form only. It is available to you in her form. And recently, Prabhuji in the Shivratri, he talked about this hide and seek. This is a hide and seek game only. This whole marriage is a hide and seek. So find your true self. Realize that consciousness in various forms in her. Men doesn't understand this possibly. Because the Prakriti is available, is not to fulfill your desires. It is available to teach you that, very lesson to move towards realizing true self. So with the grace of Prabhuji, I'll stop here. I don't know, 3 minutes or over. There's a lot to talk about it. We can write 32 volumes on this, marriage. So there is no Chit Shakti Vilasa or Shiva Shakti Vilasa is happening, and the marriage is available to you. In all the way, this whole Vilasa continues. So
Yeah, I think that volumes and volumes of this thing, you concise it in very precisely, most probably in the 3 minutes, I think. Very nice. So
Very
you're
nice.
able to give. Yeah, nicely presented, Venkatji. And you took almost you took about 3 minutes. You stick also the time, and it's a great achievement because talking on this big subject and just make it concise in 3 minutes is something great. So the next panelist, I would like to invite Mr. Sarvanji. So a brief bio about Sarvanji is he got inspired by Vijayji and then joined Prabhuji's classes to learn the real science behind the life since January 2019. He resides in Bangalore, JP Nagar 7th phase. He is a manager in a software company, father to the two daughters, age 17 and 12, supported by wife in all her life interests in the field of childcare, handwork, craft, music, fitness, etc. Over to Sarvanji.
Thank you. Hari Om Guruji, Girish Ayaji, my fellow panelist, and all the Atma Jyotis present here. This invitation actually came to me as a big surprise because that was the time actually I was going through handling my questions from my wife, who just complained that, hey, ever since you joined this, all my weekends are gone. Every morning you're disappeared. Okay, and you can follow all these things, but then like it looks like you are running away from family. And that was the toughest question for me. Where like on one side I was enjoying the classes, and then like now I had to face her and I had to convince her or like answer her in a way that like it will be taken, right? And the same day I get this invitation saying like, hey, you have to come and talk about spiritual marriage. I'm thinking, okay, so looks like there is a reason for everything and I cannot run away. And somehow looks like Guruji heard about my difficulty and challenge and decided to teach me through a session like this. So anyway, so I said like, okay, let me start with it. Let me contemplate on it and see what comes up, right? And so to start with, I celebrate Women's Day every day. So I live with my wife and two daughters. So there is women in the house all the days. And definitely things have changed a lot since I started Prabhuji's classes. So let me start with like my understanding of marriage initially, right? So we know that while everything is Brahman and the world is an appearance, right, projected to the Maya Shakti. But what I see with every class is like there is a perfect order in everything. There is nothing random at all, right? And as Girish Ayaji knows about automation, I see that the way the world operates, it's in perfect like automation. The world and our own body, basically governed by the karma theory. But like there's perfect automation. Nothing, no industrial automation looks like comes close to how the world operates, right? And how is that related to marriage? I felt the marriage brings order in everyone's life, right? Nothing happens randomly. And if you see big organizations, even our own foundation, there is a perfect hierarchy in place. There are like different circles, Gita Jyoti, Vedanta, Katha Jyoti. So when there is a perfect order, it becomes very easy for a seeker to grow. So the way I see it is a marriage brings a perfect order to this society, which otherwise will be in like complete chaos. It's not that there is no chaos today, but I feel like it will be in like big multiples of chaos. Whereas like a marriage brings the people together, puts it in a structure, anchors the individual to grow, right? So that's how now I see marriages, right? Now coming to spiritual marriage, what is the difference between the worldly married life, which is what I was living and where I got tired of right? Where I was following the rules of the society, getting into a job, and like no job was good enough. You have to keep growing in the job. You have to earn assets, and like no house was big enough, and like be it like and then like raising kids and like raising kids. There was a big expectation on that. And taking family for travel, roaming around here and there, entertainment. That was the life. And whatever I did, that happiness was like done on that day. And like I had to do something better than that. And definitely at one point of time I got tired of. I said, okay, there is something I'm not getting it right. I was always comparing with others, and it was leading to frustration, anger, which ended up directing at my own family, right? And I felt very bad that like, what is it I'm doing? Why is that like nobody has taught me how to approach this, right? I could not just like that take it from the way my parents brought me up, because the world is changing and it has changed, and I could not impose what I grew up on the next generation. So that's when like a casual conversation with Vijayji led me to this group. And as I started listening, I felt like layers and layers of that ignorance, I would say, started shedding. I started realizing, okay, whatever I was thinking, what I was like, that's not the real one, right? And that brought me a new dimension to how to run the married life, right? One thing I would say is like, Sudhaji has a question.
I think question, we will take it anyway. Whatever question needs to be typed in a chat box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I would say this, right? Very simply put, these days, the day starts with me making tea, which comes from Prabhuji's tea meditation. Right? I do it with such an enjoyment. Make the tea. Now you should see that like my wife goes and says, my husband like makes very good tea. She doesn't know that there is a meditation session going on for me there, right? From putting the powder to peeling ginger and like putting it, right? So I started like doing same the household chores, which I was, which she will ask me like in a very different way, right? And the big difference is what in a worldly life, married life, I was expecting from everyone, right? Like my happiness would come from what my wife will do, and if she doesn't do something as I expected, it will lead to like disappointment. And like my children should give me something, in the sense like they should listen to me, they should like score well, that will make me happy, right? But after going through these Atma Jyoti classes, right, I realized that like the happiness doesn't come from them, right? And if I keep going after them, it's never going to happen at all. And it starts from me and the way I present myself to the family, right? I can bring that peace and joy in the family, which otherwise I was expecting from everyone else, right? Now, they may not realize it, as like yesterday, Guruji was saying, it's not something to advertise in the family that, hey, I'm following spirituality, so you should feel good about me that like I'm not doing something else. It's more of like very subtle changes that the spirituality brings, that brings peace and joy to the family, right? And just to end with, I would say like Atmano Mokshatam Jagadhita just starts from home. Okay, I have to go beyond myself, start giving, serving to the family selflessly, as we say, Nishkamya Karma, right? And like being there, I feel like my family will definitely get it. They don't have to appreciate me now. I'm not expecting anything from them, right? But I feel like it's like sowing the seeds, and someday it will grow as a big tree and start yielding fruits. And that time I'll be like smiling happily and thanking Guruji again. Thank you. I would stop.
Also, you are smiling. Now also you are smiling.
100%.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Sarvanji. So let me introduce today's fourth panelist, the last panelist, Mr. Varun Shannon. I think he seems to be the youngest one in the whole panel.
Newly married also.
I think we'll get a lot of new insights. Okay, so a brief bio about Mr. Varun Shannon, student of Prabhuji since 2017, part of Nisarga Datta IVSC group. He is also coordinating the Harinam Japa Yagna, a software quality assurance engineer at Amazon, married since 1 year. Yeah, that is the credential. Married for last since 1 year. So, and living with the parents, wife, parents, and brother. So, I think we are going to get a different view on this, right? Yeah, over to Varun.
Hari Om Guruji, Hari Om all the participants, panelists. Yeah, just like how Sarvanji said, this invite has come at the right time because even though I'm able to like follow spirituality and attend AVSC and make some time, but I was not sure how to get my wife into the fray, and maybe through this meeting I'll be able to get some pointers. So it has come at a very right time. What is a spiritual marriage? Like from one perspective, at least everything is Brahman, Sarvam Khalvidam Brahman. So there is nothing which is not spiritual, nothing which is not divine. So there is no actual separation. But when you as a person are leading a married life, the difference is that do you succumb to what the society expects you to achieve in life, or do you also succumb to your inner urges? And or do you have the higher goal? Do you recognize that there is a need of a higher goal? Do you recognize that the happiness that you can get from the material world is limited? And do you have that higher goal? Like Guruji says, Atmano Mokshartham Jagaditaya. So do you recognize this aspect? This is what the difference is, regular marriage versus the spiritual marriage. I'm still a neophyte. I'm still at a very beginning stage, but this is what I have heard from Guruji. To put into practice is a different aspect, which I again want to learn. The other aspect what I wanted to say is marriage should not be looked at as something which is an impediment. Very recently, Guruji told to me that all of the responsibilities that you have in life, like your job, your family, your your wife, all of these are like a way for you to channel your concentration, focus, and develop the Shat Sampatti in your life. Nothing is like an impediment in that way. Everything should be looked at as an opportunity for you to become more focused in life. And marriage does lend that stability to a person where before marriage you were all distracted, and now you're able to, like, one aspect of your life is taken care of. So it helps you focus that way. So yeah, that's pretty much what I had to say right now. Thank you.
Very good. Wonderful, Varun.
Yeah, very, very, very nicely presented. And early stage, this kind of understanding about spiritual marriage is very good, because I'm just talking about myself here. So I never had that. After 1 year, I never had that. So anyway, so now, shall I take the question now, or Maniji? There are two interesting questions from audience. So
Yeah, I think we can take it.
yeah. So the first question is from Dr. Kalpana. So I think it will be, each one can contribute this. It is open to all the 4 panelists, and let us hear all the views. So keep it yourself about 2 minutes so that we can maintain the time. So one question is, if one partner among the couple does not follow the spirituality, how the other one should get along? Good question.
Yeah.
Like a spirituality, Krishna. To other.
Yeah. Can I go?
Yeah, please
Yeah,
raise your hand and go.
Yeah. So it depends on how we define spirituality. Because one may be spiritual from like devotional aspect, but what I've seen is, like, when it comes to Jnana, they are not ready, and I feel like until they come in, they will not be able to appreciate what we get. Right from outside, it's very difficult to rate what people go through. Right. So the biggest learning I have got from the classes is, like, it is about me, how I present myself. Right. and like accepting any and every situation as is without any expectations. That basically leads to a leads to a perfect handling of any situation, right? So the reason why should I expect the other person to follow exactly me, right? So there are like, so every so for if you go through our theory, it's like I alone, my consciousness is alone real, and every object, even including my body and the world, is unreal, right? And I feel like the way the scene is presented, it is, I feel like, done specifically for that jiva to get that learning and to get over it. So I would say uh, have the clarity should lead to accepting any situation, accepting everyone as they are, and like be and continue to be yourself and like do the right things, and like definitely in a very subtle way it will do the good things, right things.
Okay, so good. It's an acceptance, right? Yeah. So can I go to Varun? What is your view on this question? Can I read the question for you once again?
It's the first one in chat, right?
Yeah, the first one. Yeah, it's there already in the chat box. So by Dr. Kalpana. Yeah, go ahead.
Right. I mean, one way, yeah, it's a way for you to like understand that you don't have control over everything, and it's for you to generate acceptance in you towards other things, to other things, and the way I deal with it is. I just firstly I make sure that at least my interest in spirituality is completely properly communicated to her, so that I am able to spend time without any objection. So that's the first step. But beyond that, I don't try to like force anything on my wife. She's mildly interested right now, but then when I try to push a little too much, then she backs away. So I've learned through trial and error that something trying to impose spirituality doesn't work. So you just give them their space, and whenever I listen to any talks, I play it a little loud, and naturally sometimes she's drawn towards it, and she asks me questions, and that is when I answer. But generally, the rule is to not impose and let it happen naturally, and also for you to understand that you don't have control on these things.
Yeah, I think you are a good student, because within a 1 year you learned all these tricks. Still, we are trying to figure out how to do it. So, Sarvanji.
In fact, Varun had a counseling before marriage, a spiritual counseling for marriage.
Vaniji, next year topic, spiritual counseling before marriage.
You can even do it next week, sir, if you want.
Yeah, sure. Let us continue. Yeah, Sarvanji, your view.
Yeah. So I actually remember an incident that really occurred when we were sitting in a sahwas with Sadhguru. There was a woman who came up and talked about her difficulties at home doing the sadhana because her husband does not like whatever she's doing. So she narrated with a lot of tears that, see, my husband is now trying to put me a restriction that I should not come to these programs. I should not do meditation, sitting idle. I should not take the name of God loudly or do japa or whatever. And the way she told all of us thought very sad. I think Sadhguru will give her some direction how to control her husband or to change the situations at home. To our surprise, Sadhguru said, look, why are you not recognizing that God in the form of your husband is now trying to raise the bar where you don't have to do sadhana by wasting time sitting in meditation. You don't have to do God's name aloud and not doing any other work. You can do it. You realize that it's in you only. So his view was totally different from what we thought. And then we realized, at least I realized at that time, the spiritual life, what we think, or sadhana, what we think, is always something personal, and we should have the right to do what we want to do personally. But as you progress in this, you realize that the entire spiritual journey is to adjust within the environment around you. The whole point of a spiritual journey is to get to that point where you realize that this individuality is nothing but one with the eternity, or the entire creation that's around there. So adjustment with the environment is all real spirituality is, and one need not fear whether there is a non-materialistic person or a spiritual person. Eventually you live practically knowing the spirituality, then you will shut off all this external signs of spirituality, then that is the real spirituality that comes in. So it will induce automatically that same honesty in others, in your partner as well. So we should not try to see spirituality as a separate life where you want the other partner should also have it. It's an inner life, and it should be only an inner life. You become perfect, automatically your relations also become perfect. Hari Om.
Well said. Well said. Yeah. So now, Venkatji, your views? The same question.
I'll latch on to what right now, Sarvanji said. You become perfect, rest will be in place. It may be your own headstrong ego is a problem for the other. So just dilute it, correct it. And this itself will show up as your own natural qualities manifest around you. That itself can, attract your better half into the journey. So this is my own experience. Initially, this is a journey of my own correction that corrected my own qualities. Today my wife is a great follower of Prabhuji. In fact, she reminds me, Prabhuji said this at times. So I think if you correct yourself, rest will fall in place. It may be that problem. I know there are other, I'm not denying there will be difficulties, expectation of other, better half preventing you in this, making progress in the journey, and those expectations playing out. Totally understand. In my case, it is the other way. Correcting yourself has corrected your own qualities that I'm also looking forward to my own kids now. I'm not expecting that it will come along. When parents correct themselves, the kids will look at what they follow. They will learn from what you follow, not what you preach. So that's a correction. Correct yourself. Rest will fall in place.
Well said. Yeah. Now, can I start with the second question from you now? Because since you are there on the screen, so I would like to take that opportunity. The second question is very interesting question. It is from Mala Suresh. The question, I'm just going to read a question. You people are under Guruji's guidance, so you all talk according to Vedanta. How about who are not associated with it?
Yeah, because we have carried, Guru vasanas are into us now. So whatever we speak, that he has become, become Guru now. So let me maybe put it in this way, maybe illustrating in terms of stories that could help. My own bringing up was very dry because a very hard life, not much money left. My mom used to run the house. Maybe 20 days in the month, there is enough food and things like this. 10 days is very difficult. I've been the third son, but I'm the first. I have two sisters. I'm the son. Where especially when I come back from school, it was I used to fetch the water, and in 20 paisa, I need to get the vegetable and anything that is required to, because that's a limited budget. We need to run the house. So this is the age of emotional development. In this age, what happened was I could not see my own mother struggling so much. So emotions completely dried up. So this is the situation. And after that, it is about correcting the, repaying the debts of my father all along. And one fine day, my sister was getting married, and so there's no marriage shopping happened. So I got married to this is like an exchange deal. I got married. So then this is like such a dried up character, and I have my better half who was more spontaneous, more receptive, naturally connecting. You see how it is playing out is, the grace will give you what you are missing. What is not in you, the grace is giving that part. Hence, the journey is more balanced. That's how this is a grand design. I hope it makes sense. What has been taken out, what you are looking for to fulfill yourself physically, mentally, spiritually, it'll happen, but the journey is augmented by the grace in its own ways, and take you towards very lucky to have Guru manifesting. So that's how it is. Hope I answered this.
Yeah. I think everyone's perspectives, right? So can I come to Varun? Yeah, the second question from Mala Suresh.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like I said, like whenever I attend any talk or AVC session.
No, it is without Guruji. See, the question says, you people are under Guruji's guidance, so you are talk about Vedanta. But how about those who are not part of this fraternity?
Okay, so I'm assuming it is about the spouse, how to,
Yeah, the spiritual marriage only, but without the Jnana or counseling or the in circle of this Vedanta, with this study group.
Okay. I mean, from my personal experience, like I said, I try to play the videos little aloud and try to see if there is any curiosity. And even in passing, let's say there is a problem in the any problem that comes up, I just say, Sarvam Brahman, or I just try to use it as a joke or use it as a way to bring it in the conversation without being too serious about it. And that kind of generates curiosity, and that remains and let's say next time there's another problem, then again she says, what, this is all Maya, this is all an illusion. So that's the personal way I'm trying to do it, bring in Vedanta into day-to-day conversation in a light-hearted way, and it sticks with my wife. So that's how, even though she doesn't know the actual terms of the Vedanta, but she still understands the concept, and yeah, that's my meager attempt at how I try to introduce that.
Good, I think. Sarvanji, your views?
So my view is that Vedanta is not necessary at all here. So being with Guruji is not the point, or not being with Guruji. The point is that whole institute of marriage is for knowing yourself, whether you know it or you don't know it. By the end of that thing, if you would already know what is the Veda and what is the Anta of it, that is, you know yourself, because there is no other better mirror than your own partner. So that's because you live together, you know what is wrong with you, or what is the friction point in you. So you learn that automatically. So being practical is the most important thing, and you will learn this when you really carry on in marriage. So all that Guruji's presence gives you is to realize this for you internally as the person. So it will be much more smoother with this knowledge of Vedanta. But otherwise, the goal is the same, the struggle is the same, and the whole knowledge of marriage, what it brings, is still the same. Okay, so this reminds me that when Shankaracharya was going for a debate, there was a lady who challenges him, do you know marital life? Then he realizes he does not know it, and it's a big lacuna in him, which he realizes he had to fulfill it. So he does fulfill it by, the story, how he gets into a king's body and understands it. But the point here is that everything that occurs, everything that happens in a marriage is very naturally knowing the self. So this naturally knowing self aspect is what is marriage. And knowing the self is not just I, it is also in the person, which apparently in an opposite situation is the whole knowledge that we get through marriage. So this is this is the same thing that happens whether you are in Guruji's fold or not. But what you get in Guruji's fold is this knowledge, and that will help you smooth out things in life. Okay, so that's probably my answer. Harry.
Nice answer. I think very elaborative and very precise, Grace. Yeah, Sarvanji, your view now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I also went through this in my early days. As I got excited, I started talking more and more about Vedanta at home, all the technical terms, and very easily got back saying, "Hey, enough! What people do after 8 years, you just started, and it's boring here." Okay, then I realized, okay, it's not something to showcase that I know I learned something. And from Guruji also, like yesterday I heard, right, it's more for your inner development than to advertise outside, and not necessarily to tell everyone everywhere that using the technical terms, it's all Maya, and we are Brahman, right? They will not be able to connect, right? And so the way I see it now, it's to again, as Guruji mentioned once, play the role perfectly, right? Whatever role I am in, it's a role. I am not this role. So play the role perfectly, and as a husband, and give love and respect from me, right? And not expect before getting into this satsang. I was literally like a beggar, begging for love and respect from everyone, right? And somebody says something, I would feel bad. It's like, why are they not realizing my intentions? Why don't they know me? And why are they not giving me respect or love? Right now, it's basically it goes from me. I don't have to always ask for it from someone. Right? Also, actually helps to live in a detached way, in the sense you don't get emotional, which comes with the attachment, right? And it helps one to take right decisions, right? And the other thing I see is every situation I face, I feel it's a opportunity given to me to improve on something which I lack, right? And it throws me off, but then I'm able to come back sooner. So I would say that these teachings have helped me to operate in the married life from a spiritual center. Okay, otherwise I used to be all over the place. Okay, should I do this? Should I do that? Right, basically I was trying to make everyone around me happy. by running around in a random way. But now, basically, what I see is like wherever I go, I'm able to. It takes a while. I'm only few years into the learning, but within few minutes to an hour, I'm able to come back to that center, say that, you know what, hey, realize who you are, and like, don't get carried away, don't run, like slow down and calm down, and then like I keep telling myself the nanu nanan nanal thing, and the Shanti mantra of I am Purnam really like helps me to calm down, center, and then like again carry on, right? After all, everyone is Brahman, right? Then other person is there for a reason, and I feel like that reason is to take me from this worldly home to the actual spiritual home. Right? So I would see it that way. Yeah.
Fantastic. I think still we have some time left. So I'm going to pose one common question to everyone, right? And maybe you can take about 60 seconds or one minute maximum, right? So the question is, Sarvanji, you can take up this question and then I'll go to the rest of the panelists. What is the noticeable change in your family life before and after you took to a spirituality? Maybe in 60 seconds.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, please go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I thought, I don't know which Sarvanji.
Sarvanan. Sorry, Sarvanji.
Okay,
Sarvanan.
Okay, sure.
Okay, my mistake. Apologies.
Yeah. So before starting my spiritual learning, I was constantly trying to compare, and I was trying to find happiness outside, and I was getting very. There were a lot of moments where I used to get angry, and that used to I used to put that on the family, and there were many moments where I felt very bad that like, why am I doing this? And like, there is definitely something wrong the way I am understanding the life, or like what I should be doing. Always I felt moments where I have achieved, but then like very soon, like nothing was feeling like giving me that satisfaction, right? And basically, and the root cause was I was looking for everything outside, and that is a big change that has happened. Like since I started learning, I realized that you don't get that happiness from outside. At the end of the day, everyone looks for happiness, but lives for happiness, but it doesn't come from outside. It is in you, and if you know who you are and like how you relate to the world, you will be able to handle the situations much better. I have to agree that I have not perfected this. I still, because I've seen that as I still work in a corporate where like lot of different people bring different aspects, and I see that like I get carried away, and it takes me a while to come back saying that, okay, so this is what you see outside, but you are not all that, and like you don't have to feel bad about things. The world is something which constantly changes, but like stay put where you are, and like do the right things without expectations. Do your role, play your role in a perfect way, and like be happy with that, right? So more and more of that, I am reaching out to myself for that happiness. That's what I would say.
Sarvanji.
Yes. So soon after marriage, my first feeling was that it was a big burden. That this whole adjustment and a lot of struggle that we see in fulfilling both the responsibilities of family and also that of my ambitions was a struggle. But only after some time and after the learning from Sadhguru did I realize that this is the very purpose, that you need to understand the ambition, how far it is selfish and how far it is in tune with the reality or with the situation that you are in. So then this balance happened gradually and it settled down. So what we call life, family, work balance, it's primarily because the misunderstanding of the ambition or misunderstanding of the purpose in one direction rather than the other. So once the whole purpose and the role is very well understood, then you'll play each role very smoothly, because the more you know yourself, you know that all roles are all equal and everything can be done if you go deeper inside. So that's the perspective that I can bring you. Thanks.
Thank you. It was nice perspective. Venkatji, what is the noticeable change in your family life before and after you took spirituality?
The number of arguments have come down from every other day to once a week. Now it has come to once a month. That is very good sign. So good sleep, peace has set in. There is I think the one is a contributory. Our family boundary has expanded. There is no, me, my family boundary has expanded. The Jagat Hitai, the contribution beyond, the ability to see contribution beyond and able to, the spandana, I don't know what is the equivalent word, the spandana is improved with, extended, so, in and around you, way you find opportunity to serve has increased. Very happy to see my kids imbibing those characters, by following. I think that's how I see that, that humanity, the value system not taught in the school is, I'm seeing in them gradually, and that's I think this is a beautiful actually. This is adding up, and this is a journey that continue to follow, because Prabhuji smartly did a neti path first, and now iti, the iti is inside, here only, now and here only it is playing out in the iti. Look at the number of you're better half playing like 20 roles in a day, like 24/7. That was very difficult. Because earning alone and then setting up the needs of the family is not just a beginning. That whole juggling you see and how you can contribute to that, supporting it is visible in front of you. That awareness is set in. Everything you see in black and white. So this is like a major change. The grace, that's how the grace of Guru. The spiritual marriage is the grace of Guru. That view will come, rest will fall in place.
Fantastic thing. Varun, I know that it is a very short duration for you to answer this, but whatever you experience, maybe that during that 1 year, you can put it across.
Actually, I didn't have a phase of married life where I was not associated with Prabhuji, because I was, to begin with itself, I was already associated somehow, thanks to grace, or I don't know what it is. But I can speak of like before marriage how I was, and before even being associated with Prabhuji how I was. I was very much like like Sarvanji mentioned, would compare with others. My ambitions would be tied to how others look at success, and the fallout of that was that I would work long hours at office, and I would try to get promotion, and being on social media, looking at others, wanting to go on different vacations, this, that, and all that. So now there is so much focus in life, and so much. What my ambitions have reduced, like for good, and I'm happy to just do what is required rather than like trying to serve my ego or serve my ambitions. And that overall has given me so much time in life now. I work just till 6:30 in the evening, and then I log out. So it's given me so much time to pursue other things like AVSC, and also the Harinama Japa. So overall, the piece that I have probably is like also helping the family, and you know, I'm able to give them more time. So overall, in that way, it has helped. Now that I've come into the spiritual frame.
Fantastic. I think all the panelists did a good job, and we had varied of experience, varied of views. There are different views, different experiences narrated in terms of senior to the junior, I would say, because the Varun is the latest one, and there are so many seniors. So if I have to sum up all the point, because I was trying to absorb everything, but ultimately I came to a conclusion that as a man, we have 365 days Women's Day. So that is my conclusion. But here the views are, there is no absolute right. I mean, nothing is right or wrong. It's everything is relative with respect to the situation, with respect to the experience, with respect to the people's life, right? So with this, I think still 1 minute to go before we wrap up this session. So any other question from audience, if you want?
Can we ask Prabhuji to give his...
Yeah, I think I invite Prabhuji for the next thing. Yeah. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. Thank you. Yeah. I would like to invite Prabhuji for...
Thank you. Thank you very much. It was a wonderful panel discussion, very insightful. And everybody they have shared their experiences. Beautiful. Lot of insights, lot of valuable lessons in life. So what is life itself? Life is a journey. Journey to where? Journey to discover ourselves. Who am I? That discovery is a journey of life. Whether you have background of spirituality or you don't have background of spirituality, this journey we do. If you have background of spirituality, you do consciously. If you don't have background, you do unconsciously. So entire spiritual journey is about loosening and losing the ego. Loosening the ego and losing the ego. So one way people say to loosen the ego and lose the ego, become a monk so that you don't have problem at all. But that's not a solution. The ego, loosening will happen, the losing the ego will happen when another ego comes and starts rubbing it. So before marriage, the boy has a big ego, the girl has a big ego, because girl is very beautiful, the boy is very smart. So when the two egos come and get squeezed in one place, so their friction starts. So their learning starts, and there's the evolution starts. So this is the growth. The marriage is, in our way, in our Sanatan Dharma, the marriage is a purification process. The ego starts getting purified. First, if the ego is there, boy says, I am the only guy. The girl says, I am the only beautiful girl. So now when they start living together, the ego starts understand the limitation. So what was me, now has to be shared. So this sharing is the beginning of a spiritual journey, whether you are spiritual or not spiritual. Unlike the Western countries, unlike other religion, marriage is a contract. It's a transaction between a boy and girl. It's a business. It's a legal contract. Whereas in India, we look at a marriage as a spiritual journey, whether you know it or not. So in this spiritual journey, it's not a contract. It is a spiritual journey where there are two partners. So in this partnership, there's evolution of both will take place, whether you know it or not. First evolution is the two egos have to coexist. Two egos have to learn sharing. So that itself, sharing and coexistence itself will reduce the or give a final touch to the ego. Then the third thing comes, a child comes into a house. So then you have to share. Me concept has to reduce. Ours concept has to come. It will become first is one was there. Now it become 1/2, then 1/3 or 1/4, depending on the family. Then there are parents and other people who are more to support. So you have a bigger picture of life rather than an individual. This brings a focus. Whether you have no spirituality or don't know, so the responsibilities of the marriage will bring a focus into life. So that is the beginning of spirituality, reducing the or rubbing of the ego or squeezing the ego. Now, if you become a monk, there's nobody to ask you. Nobody, there's no way you can, your ego can be questioned, because a monk is free. Now, unless you are mature enough to become a monk, the immature ego will start creating illusions and hallucinations. A lot of trouble will be there. Whereas in married life, every day morning, you'll have to come to reality. The husband or wife will bring you to down to the earth, and boss will bring you down to the earth. So the ego is kept in its place in the whole marriage scene of marriage. Otherwise, ego will get bloated. Ego will have started hallucinations left to itself. So the whole work of marriage is to manage or train the ego, train to focus. Now, what is the focus? Kama, artha, dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So all of us have started with a desire. What is the desire? All of us feel incomplete. The incompleteness is inherent in all human beings. Apurnatva. So in the marriage, we are trying to find the purnatva, fullness. Because a man by himself is half, a woman by herself is half. The woman's mind works in one way, the man's mind works in one way. Both of them try to become one. Together, come together. Right? So two halves try to make one. That's why we are looking always for the better half. Two halves try to become one full, but in the process, another quarter is born, a child is born. Instead of two halves, then now 2 quarters or three happens. So your responsibility grows, your focus grows. So kama is the desire to become full. That's the fulfillment of marriage. Now this problem here is desire to become full is there because I'm limited by body. Now, to come out of the limitation of body, I want to have one more body. So marriage's first level is a union of two bodies. Union of two bodies will not make you complete. It's still incomplete because union of two bodies is momentary. Then gradually union of two minds will happen. That's slightly better. Finally, the marriage has to be union of the spirit or the consciousness. So that's what is spirituality of marriage. But will it happen overnight? No, it's a journey. So Sanatana Dharma says, you get married, but live a life of dharma. Kama means desire is there. Earn money in a dharmic way, artha. Then live a life of dharma. That means you extend your family, not me, my wife, my child. So try to work for the service. Jagadhitaya. That's what is called dharma. So marriage is prescribed for purification of the ego, removal of impurities, and expansion. Panchayadna, Devayadna, Pitrayadna, Manushayadna, Bhutayadna, Rishiyadna, do service. So now you have an extended family, the whole world is your family. So the ego is earlier, before marriage, me. Then after marriage, me and my wife. After child, me, my wife and child. Now in dharma, the entire world is my family. I have to do some service. So gradually your understanding of about yourself, what you are, starts getting purified in the process of marriage. So that's dharma comes in first, artha comes in future, moksha, dharma, artha, kama. Now some people will evolve beyond this and they get purified because now you have expanded. You know how to do service. Without doing service, ego cannot be transcended. So dharma is very important. Jagaditaya, service to the world is important. Panchayadna is important. So beyond that, what will happen? Gradually now, you have purified ego. You become eligible for moksha or liberation through jnana. So in that sense, dharma, artha, kama, moksha, the spiritual journey is called marriage. Whether you know it or not. But if you don't know the real purpose of life as moksha or spiritual unfoldment, you'll be lost in the way. Kama becomes very important, artha becomes very important. So you'll get lost in that way. In that loss, there will be a lot of conflicts in life, tussles. Because you don't have common focus. The wife wants to her own way, the husband wants to her own way, or child wants to her their own way. They don't have a common direction. So common direction is spiritual evolution, spiritual growth. If that focus is there, a bigger picture is there, then smaller actions will always fit in there. So this is the spiritual journey. Dharma, artha, kama, moksha. The moksha or liberation, self-unfoldment, self-realization. If the purpose is there for husband and wife, the marriage will be beautiful, because then anything what they do, dharma, artha, kama will fit in there. If you don't have direction, then you'll get lost. Fights, tussles, breakup of marriage will happen in many cases. So I have seen many situations. A spiritual understanding changes life. Husband and wife had come to me. They were married for 25 years. After attending my classes, one day they come back and say, our life has changed. What happened? Before coming to the class, each of us were selfish. We are fighting with each other for small things. Now, I said, have you stopped fighting? No. Now we fight very rarely. And even if we fight, we'll immediately cool down to understand who am I and what is our purpose. Common purpose is spiritual self-realization. So you get a bigger picture, and the bigger picture, all small actions will fit in properly. Another situation is there where another situation is there where the wife and husband had a very troubled marriage, many years. So then the wife comes to me and requests me, please do something for my husband. So the husband attends a couple of spiritual classes. Now he has become very peaceful. Now wife is coming and telling me, please, my husband has become very peaceful. Please reverse him. Earlier there was so much of fight. I used to feel very lively in the house. Now he has become so calm and peaceful. In some situations, husband comes to the classes, seeing the transformation in wife comes to the classes. So together they will gradually grow. Now the spirituality, now the question is, if one part is not spiritual, other part is spiritual, how to take? So don't say spirituality is something very, this thing. Spirituality is how do I become a better person? How do I become more evolved person? It is nothing to do with the external situation. So as you become more a better person, more evolved person, it will influence your partner. So in that sense, the spirituality is not a show off. Don't force your partner. Let your inner maturity, let your inner evolution influence the other person. So that will have an impact. When one person changes, the other person also changes. So there's a question here, why can't karma yoga is not sufficient? Yeah, karma yoga is self-sufficient. The entire journey of life is karma yoga. So in marriage, through marriage, you are learning karma yoga. In marriage, you have to learn unselfishness. I have to take care of my wife, I have to take care of my children, I have to take care of society. So that's exactly is karma yoga. And many people, they need a direction and focus. That's what marriage comes. And also please understand, there's no good marriage and bad marriage. What happens in our life, anything we get, any relationships, any friends or any enemies or whatever circumstances come in your life, is only our karmic impressions come to us. They are coming to us to teach, to show us what we have to learn. So in that sense, any situation in life, including marriage, is just an opportunity to evolve us, to realize. So consciously, if you are able to do this, your life will be beautiful. Now, the problem is most of the people are unconscious, and many marriages in the world are contract. So now in India also we have started becoming, we are becoming more and more contract based. Really, the marriage is about the journey. So the question here in the Zoom is, if marriage is creating more selfishness, my child, my family, this is where I'm saying, if you don't understand, see, the question discussion Zooms on the chat box is, some of them marriage creates more selfishness. My family, my husband, my child. Yes. Okay. So it creates selfishness. But In that my, there'll be a clash of ego. There'll be stress. So there's a push and pull. So you have to learn. If you learn from the push and pull, you'll evolve. If you don't learn, you'll be suffering. So unless you have a bigger picture, the smaller things, the tussles will cause tension, stress. The whole thing is selfishness will cause stress and strain, gradually loosen and evolve. If you don't evolve, the marriage will be stressful. If the marriage is confined to artha and kama, no dharma, no moksha, the marriage will be stressful. So grahastha ashrama, the householder's life, is ashrama. Ashrama means a place where there is peace, no shrama. So the entire married life is designed for ashrama or peace. If you follow dharma, artha kama becomes your focus, then married life will be stress. Selfishness becomes your focus, stress. So in that stress, you may evolve or you may suffer. So in other words, I want to say, we are not human beings to realize the spiritual being. We are the spiritual beings having a human life. The marriage, the children, the family, the job you do is also spiritual. When you understand the purpose of life is dharma, artha, kama, moksha. So marriage is a schooling system, education system for you to grow and evolve. With that, I conclude my talk. Wonderful session. Thank you for all the panelists. Thank you for Vani and Vasudev to arrange this.
From Jnana Jyoti, Circle of Light, we thank Prabhuji for the wonderful opportunity created, and for the moderator and all the panelists. Such an authentic discussion where personal journey in marriage was superimposed over Vedantic value systems and teachings of Prabhuji. It gave a lot of practical, valuable insights to everybody, to all of us. We also thank the people who posted questions, who have given valuable feedback in the chat. And we thank each one of you for joining in this wonderful panel discussion.
Vani, there is one question. Can I answer that on the Zoom, on the chat box?
Certainly.
There are some people, okay, they're struggling in marriage and separate out, decide to live apart. How anybody can help them? Understand? So actually, married life is, the ego is polished, ego is purified, and towards moksha. Those who are struggling and separate out, they have found out the limitation of ego. No matter what you do, ego can't improve. That's already gone case. So they have come to the ultimate limitation. They have understood, oh my God, ego is a problem. Okay, then if they get into spiritual life, they understand spiritual truth, they will evolve because they have understood the problems. So even the separation in marriage also is a spiritual evolution, provided the person goes and understands the spiritual truths of life. If the person doesn't understand spiritual truth of life, then only hope is counselors and psychological treatment. Does that answer your question, Ashaji? We learn something when we understand the limitation. So we have the person who has separated out, who understood the limitation of marriage. Artha and kama is not working out. They don't know dharma and moksha. So even after separation, they understand dharma and moksha. The person will evolve. Bringing them together is not a solution. Evolution is the solution. So Ashaji, your question is answered.
Yes, thank you, Prabhuji.
Okay. Namaste.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Would you lead us through the ending prayers, please?
Yeah. Asatoma Sadgamaya Tamasoma Jyotirgamaya Mrityorma Amritam Gamaya. Om Shanti Shanti Shantihi Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamuduchyate Purnamsya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti ಶಾಂತಿ ಶಾಂತಿ ನಾನು ನಾನೆಂಬುದು ನಾನಲ್ಲ ಈ ದೇಹ ಮನ ಬುದ್ಧಿ ನಾನಲ್ಲ ಸಚಿದಾನಂದಾತ್ಮ ಶಿವ ನಾನು ನಾನೇ ಶಿವೋಹಂ 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 I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the intellect, I'm pure consciousness, Shiva Swarupi. Antarjyoti, Bahirjyoti, Pratyak Jyoti, Paratpara, Jyotireva Jyoti, Swayam Jyoti, Atma Jyoti, Shivosmiham. I am the light of the self-awareness, Atma Jyoti. I am the light illuminating the entire world, Jagat Jyoti. I am light beyond all lights, Paranjyoti. I am the light, self-luminous light, light of love, compassion, and wisdom, Swayam Jyoti. Atmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Brahmadarshanam, Satyadarshanam. To know the self is to know God. To know God is to be God. To be God is to know the truth. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Lokaha samastaha sukhino bhavantu. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. So, thank you for wonderful session. Thank you, Vaniji and Vasudevji. It's a good beginning for our Jnana Jyoti session. Thank you, Girishaya. Your wisdom shined through whole of the session.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
And thank you for all the panelists. Actually, the marriage is the shortest route to enlightenment. It gives you polish. It gives you wisdom.
Namaste, Guruji.
Namaste.
Guruji.